Hey everyone, James Kenobi here. I wanted to do a quick show off, or a show and tell. Show and tell is a little thing that they do on tested.com. Become a real fan of it. Will or Norm or someone will bring out something that they think is really cool and share it with everybody. So I wanted to bring out something that I thought was really cool. So, let's say it's 1978 or 1979 and you are a big Star Wars fan. So you go to your local toy store and you buy some Star Wars action figures that you really like, and this guy is not cooperating with me. So one of the figures that you buy is this guy right here. This is an Imperial Stormtrooper, and he's not actually the show and tell, by the way. One of the things I don't like about this figure is Kenner produced this figure starting in 1978, and they produced the Star Wars line for 5 years or 6 years or so, and the Stormtrooper that you bought in 1983 was the exact same Stormtrooper that you bought in 1978. And I always felt that Kenner, when you look at the Return of the Jedi figures, while they're not more technologically advanced in the sense that they don't have any more articulation than the original figures, the sculpts were so much better. And I look at this figure and I say, yeah, you look at him and it says Stormtrooper. It definitely says Stormtrooper. But I always wish they had gone back and made new sculpts, either when Empire came out or when Jedi came out, that was a little bit more representative of the Stormtrooper, a little bit more detailed, because the figures you see, you know, the aliens that were in Jabba's palace, or even the heroes, you know, Luke and Leia, the figures were just so much more detailed. I always kind of hated the fact that they gave us the same old little figures, you know. But the reason why I'm showing him off is your Stormtrooper came with this right here, which now, of course, it doesn't want to come out of his hand. A second ago, I couldn't get to stay in his hand. This is your Kenner Stormtrooper Blaster. And I can't hold it up to the camera because the camera won't focus on it, but it's a very iconic little gun. It is, originally in the film, these guns were British Sterling submachine guns that they added parts to and dressed them up, you know, and it was an important gun because all your Stormtroopers carried them. In the original Star Wars movie, Luke and Han, of course, used them after they got out of their Stormtrooper armor in the Death Star. That's what they were using to shoot everybody with. So as a kid playing with the toys, you know, whenever you would make up your little scenarios, let's keep this where you can see it, you would make up your little play scenarios. You know, you might have Han or Luke go into an Imperial base, and they're going to knock out the Stormtroopers, and they're going to take their guns, and they're going to use them. So it's always very important to have a good supply of these little weapons on hand, because anybody could. Leia used it, Princess Leia used it in Star Wars. In Empire and Jedi, you didn't see the good guys using this gun that much. They had their own guns. Lando and Leia used them when they escaped Cloud City because they took them away from the Stormtroopers. But it's a very iconic gun design. Now the reason why I'm showing you this is I have a Stormtrooper costume. And several years ago I was able to purchase this. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if we can get it all on camera here. This is a Kenner Stormtrooper Blaster prop. Full size. We say full size. I bought this from a gentleman who made it on the RPF, and it is in fact made out of wood, which is good and bad. It's good in the sense that it was not a very expensive prop at all. The bad news is he spent some time sanding and trying to get rid of the wood grain on it, but he did not spend a lot of time trying to get the wood grain out of it. It's something I've always he painted it this beautiful blue color. The original 78, 79 Kenner Star Wars figures had blue weapons, and they kind of switched it to black for Empire and Jedi action figures. But the original ones were blue, just like this. And when I trooped as a Stormtrooper at the San Diego Comic-Con, I believe it was in 2005, I carried this gun. Because I thought it would be funny, you know, fun to be this life-size action figure with my life-size gun. When I got back home and I started uploading my pictures, I started going to places like Flickr and Folkdy and looking at pictures. I had my photo taken quite a bit because I was there in the Gentle Giant booth where the big Jabba the Hutt, I think it was the first year they had the big fiberglass Jabba the Hutt. And a lot of the comments that I read in my costume, people would say, man, that Stormtrooper looks so awesome. What a great costume, man. That guy looks totally, he's so badass. What's up with his gun? That guy needs to get a real gun. He needs to get a better looking. And I was just like, dude, this is a Kenner Stormtrooper Blaster model. How is this not cool? How is this not what any life-size Stormtrooper should carry? You know? Maybe it was kids who never really played with the original stuff, you know, I don't know. I always loved this thing. I thought it was so cool. One of these days I am going to sand it down and use a glazing putty to get it sanded down. I need to kind of find a color match paint because I do really love this paint. I've toyed around with the idea of producing one of these myself that's a little bit truer to the original design, something that I could make for myself and, I don't know, maybe sell a couple extras here or there. But anyway, this is just something that I always thought was really cool. I have it on display in a little display stand. You definitely have to be a child of the 70s or 80s to look at it and even really know what it is, to understand it's the correct color, to understand that it's a model of you know, a little piece that we grew up with. So anyway, a little show and tell on the little blaster here. So that's all for today. Thanks so much. I will check you next time.